Capcom did an oopsie, guys. Another one. Then a string of what seems to be continual oopsies that continue to get worse and worse. And this time it involves Dragon's Dogma 2. So, what's the big oopsie that Capcom chose to do for Dragon's Dogma 2? Well, you can probably guess it if you know anything about the video game industry. It's the fact that they included a bunch of unnecessary microtransactions. Oh yes, that's right, because I love playing single-player RPGs when there's a bunch of microtransactions that literally are designed to make the game more efficient and easier for you. I mean, take a look at this one. I even took pictures for you this time. Look at this. Would you like to have the option to be able to fast travel a little bit more and make it just a little bit more convenient for you? Well, here you go, buddy. Have some microtransactions. And hey, look at this. Would you like some more in-game currency so you can buy more cool stuff that you want instead of going around grinding in the game? Well, here you go with microtransactions. Make it easier for you, buddy. Or how about this one? The microtransaction that helps you bring someone back from the dead, which is an actual in-game feature that you can acquire this item in the game. But if you don't want to slog around and try to find these and just want to be able to have it on hand, I mean, it's super cheap, right? Just buy it, 99 cents, no big deal. Except one small caveat here, and that's the fact that it is a big deal. At least for me, it's such a big deal, as a matter of fact, that I will no longer be buying Dragon's Dogma 2, because when you're going to be this greedy, Capcom, you have to draw a line. And the best way to draw a line to say no more isn't by not buying the microtransactions, it's by not even buying your game. So you just missed out on $70. It actually kind of reminds me about this other game called Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth that I was really looking forward to because I love this franchise and I love this series, and I'm a big fan of the Like a Dragon franchise. But then they decided to block New Game Plus behind a paywall, and I decided, you know what, that's too much, so I didn't end up buying that game. Still haven't bought that game, and now here is Dragon's Dogma 2 doing basically the exact same thing in a different way by basically trying to get you to pay for things in the game to make it easier for you. And it's gotten so bad in this game that I decided, you know what, I think I'm just not going to buy this game or play it at all. But Bradley, this is so extreme, you might say. Why would you take such a harsh stance, you say? Well, it's because I don't like these practices, and when they get too egregious in my favorite games, I will not be supporting those games. Take, for example, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth again, a game that decided to block New Game Plus behind a paywall. And yes, for anyone wondering, I do, in fact, do New Game Plus. It's actually really fun, especially in the Like a Dragon series. You would know that if you actually tried it. But they decided to try to charge me an extra, what was it, $15 to $30 more just so I could have that feature, and I said no. And I ended up not even buying the game, and I still haven't bought the game. And now Dragon's Dogma 2 wants me to pay extra money if I want to be able to fast travel a little bit more, or have some more in-game currency, or bring people back from the dead. No, you're already charging $70, which is already kind of a hard pill to swallow. But now you want me to buy more from these microtransactions? I'll do you one better. I just won't buy your game at all. How's that sound, Capcom? And Capcom, if you're listening to this, which you're not, but if you somehow are, or somebody you know is and shares this video with you, I have a suggestion for you, okay? Don't introduce microtransactions after the game reviews come in, like in Resident Evil 4, the remake. Don't add a battle pass after the game and $100+ of DLC like you did in Street Fighter 6. And even more importantly, don't on day one have microtransactions for stupid things like fast travel and in-game currency and basic features, because this is literally the definition of altering a game to try to make these things more appealing. Because you can bet your sweet rear end that these would have been a lot more easier for you to come by or be able to do if they weren't planning on putting microtransactions in it. But guess what? They're here and they're going to be there to stay. And you can bet on the next big AAA or now quadruple A game by Capcom that they'll probably be in that game as well, just like this, because people are complicit and people don't have the balls to stand up to a company and say no when their most anticipated video game is on the line. Because this will happen again and again, and it will only get worse and worse because so many people are complicit and will defend these practices for reasons I don't know at this point, because I've seen all the arguments and they just sound ridiculous. They're just embarrassing themselves, really. But yeah, go ahead. And then when games like Persona 3 Reload decide to, after they charged you an extra $30 for DLC and some extra content in the game, want to charge you another $35 for the DLC so you can actually get the complete version of the game, you'll now know, maybe, just maybe you'll understand why they're doing things like that, or why New Game Plus gets blocked behind paywalls, or extra save states get blocked behind these microtransactions, or there's just, you know what, I've already talked about this enough. I'm right, I've always been right about this, I will always be right about this, and as long as you are continuing to be complicit and okay with these things, you are the problem, and you are only making the video game industry worse. So thank you to all the people that support microtransactions and all of these terrible business decisions that are definitely not consumer friendly. Good job, you have ruined yet another game for a lot of people. And Capcom, you can suck a big one, if you know what I mean. You guys are getting worse and worse. You're becoming more like, ironically, Square Enix or EA or any of those other garbage companies that are doing these practices. And I want you to do better, because you guys actually do tend to make really good video games. So pull your heads out of your you-know-whats and shape up, guys, because Dragon's Dogma 2, it's X'd. I'm not buying it. I'll tell you what, maybe I'll buy it if it's $15 instead of $70. How's that sound? And I will see you guys on the next one. I am Bradley Overrated, out like your trout, and I'm off to go play a different game now because there's a lot of other big titles that came out at this time that don't have microtransactions and just became a lot more interesting. Later!